Good morning. Welcome to Panic Smart. So, in this India and the World section of our discussion, today we'll take off India and Australia. Now, we are in two different continents. Australia is itself a country and a continent, and in the emerging period, so both are going to be close, and they're developing their relationship. So, in a wider perspective of the Indo-Pacific region, fine. So, Indian Ocean and the Pacific Ocean. So they share this border with it. So it is a long way from Indian Ocean to Pacific Ocean. So these two countries have wider prospect in trade, commerce, security, and other issues, including environment and ecology. Fine. So although we had ancient link with Australia, but in the recent period, so the relation is being further strengthened. India is one of Australia's closest security partner, and the government is focused on revitalizing Australia's historically deep engagement with our partners across Indo-Pacific. Right. You see, two things are highlighted here. One is it is one of the closest security partner. Okay. Second is historically deep engagement. That means we had link with Australia dated back to history, that to the ancient period. So in the past we also close link with Australia, and right, the government want to rebuild that relationship and make it more stronger. Fine. So Deputy Prime Minister of and Defence Minister of Australia had a visit to India. So this topic was in news because in the recent past the Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister of Australia, so he was on a visit to India, and because of that is a high level visit of the senior official or senior functionary of Australia. So that's why it was in news. So why India and Australia want to be close? So the reason behind that. Fine. This is the first high level visit after Australia after the formation of the new government, because the election as a new government was formed, and the new government started its first action of launching close interaction with like-minded countries, and India is one such like-minded country where Australia visualize a big scope. Reciprocally, India also visualize very bright scope for itself in Australia. This is where the relationship is going to be more stronger, right? So India is one of Australia's closest security partner, and the government is focused on revitalizing Australia's historical deep engagement with our partners across the Indo-Pacific. Australia stands ready to work closely with India in support of open, inclusive, and resilient Indo-Pacific. What is the highlight over here? The support of an open, inclusive, and resilient Indo-Pacific region. Because most of the focus of the global community right now is on the Indo-Pacific region, and here both India and Australia want to explore that, make it a open and including or inclusive policy where all the stakeholders, all the other countries in the domain will be closely associated. So, and the best of the benefit will be reciprocal to all the sides. On concern for Indo-Pacific, the rules-based international order that has brought peace and prosperity to the Indo-Pacific for decades is experiencing pressure as we face shift in geostrategic order. So the issue is that the rule-based international order that has brought peace and prosperity to Indo-Pacific, because Indo-Pacific region is becoming very volatile right now, and there is possibility of some sort of tension being built if it is not properly made a rule-based order. If a proper rule-based order is not enforced in the Indo-Pacific region in recent future, so this region may lead to more armament built up, more militarization, and intense competition may lead to a situation where trust will give way to trust deficit, so which both the country don't want. Fine. So coming to India Australia defense cooperation, defense and security cooperation between India and Australia has significantly expanded in the last few years, both at bilateral as well as multilateral levels. Fine. You see, security is becoming a very big issue, and the Indian Ocean is being militarized. Fine. So we have the target to keep Indian Ocean as a zone of peace. To keep it zone of peace, And so the Indo-Pacific region are becoming closer. Fine. So that is where both the sides want to expand their military and security, defense and security cooperation, and that will definitely strengthen the ties as well as ensure security in the region. Fine. So moving forward, so in 2014, both sides decided to extend defense cooperation to cover research, development, and industry engagement, and agreed to hold regular meetings at the level of defense ministers, conduct regular maritime exercise, and convene regular service to service talk. So three things. So the year was, so take it as to 2014. In 2014, India and Australia decided to expand defense cooperation. They want to expand it to cover what? Joint research. So this is for joint research and development in defense domain. And industry engagement. That means whatever will be put to research and development will be sent to the industry. That means from lab to the industry or manufacturing line. Fine. So this is being highlighted by both the sides. Whatever they will conduct joint research, they'll cooperate in conducting joint research, and the outcomes of the research will be disseminated to the industry, and industry of both the country will engage in giving practical the production facility for the joint research conducted by both. Then and agree to hold regular meeting at level of the defense ministers. So they will have a regular defense level meeting at the defense minister level to ensure or to strengthen security and conduct regular maritime exercises, because both have been nations situated, one on the Indian Ocean, one on the Pacific Ocean, in the Indo-Pacific region. So they decided to conduct regular maritime exercises and convey regular service to service trucks. Service here means defense services. Fine. So this will definitely, if this talk goes on and this is at regular interval, this will facilitate, this will strengthen the relations further. The first ever bilateral maritime exercise or index was conducted in Visakhapatnam in 2015. So this is important. Questions come the preliminary. So the joint exercise, the bilateral military exercise between India and Australia is known as, it is called OSU index. Okay, Australia India joint exercise. Okay, so AUS for Australia, IND for India, and EX for exercise. Okay, so OSU index. So the first was conducted in 2015, and this is going on at regular interval. Okay, so and through this bilateral maritime exercise, so both the countries' relationships further strengthened. Fine. In 2018, the Indian Air Force participated in the for the first time in the exercise Pitch Black in Australia. So at regularly, Australia conducted an exercise called the Pitch Black exercise in Australia, and for the first time, the Indian Air Force was invited to participate in the Pitch Black exercise conducted in Australia, and Indian Air Force participated. Fine. INS Sahedri participated in Kakadu, the biennial exercise of Australian Navy held in 2018, which 27 nations participated. It is known as the Kakadu. Okay, this is also important. Kakadu. is the it is called the multilateral biennial naval exercise. Okay, so where it is organized by Australia, hosted by Australia. Fine. So in this, so the Indian naval ship INS Sahyadri participated along with 27 other countries. That means this is the you can say this is the maritime exercise. This is the exercise where the Air Force participated. This is another maritime exercise. Okay. Then the fourth edition of Astra Hind Special Forces the Army exercise was held in September 29. Okay, that means this is the army exercise. Fine. Army conduct exercise, Navy conduct exercise, Air Force conduct exercise. So all the three wings of Indian military, the Army, Navy, and Air Force, they have participated in joint exercises and multilateral exercises, military exercises conducted by Australia, and the joint exercises definitely enhance the interaction between both the sides. So both the sides interaction get enhanced through these bilateral exercises and multilateral military exercises conducted between Australia and where India has been invited some years, and along with other country to some meeting, India has also been invited. Fine. The India-Australia defense relationship now encompasses almost every major functions of the military. Fine. So what are the major functions of the military? Like that, major domains of the military where both the sides have enhanced the cooperation. You can say one is the strategic dialogue, coordination, and information exchange. In defense, the most important aspect is so strategic dialogue. Strategic dialogue is normally held on the strategic issues between two countries. Okay, and India and Australia being very close to each other, so they held strategic. Fine. So, after strategic dialogue, there should be coordination. Both the sides should coordinate and they should share information. Whatever information they have with each other regarding security issue, regarding security threat, regarding strategy for the security domain. So, on the strategic issues, so they will be exchanging the informations possessed by both the sides. Then second is military exercises involving ground, air, and maritime forces. So, as we have discussed earlier, so already in the last within the last 10 years, they have conducted exercise in the military, the army, even the air force, and the navy. So all the three forces. So army, navy, and air force of both the country conducted joint exercises. Okay, either bilaterally or multilaterally. Fine. So, and exchanges and training. So both sides also conduct exchanges of personnel and exchange of information, and they also exchange the training personnel. So training, the special training of where every side has its own expertise. Okay, they do it. Okay, so that enhances the scope of knowing each other and knowing each other's expertise in the respective domain. Fine. Exchanges and trainings. Third is defense, scientific and technological cooperation. You know, defense is a domain where a regular exercise, a regular research is going on. Okay, so defense science has a great role in defense modernization. Fine. And that's why, so there is always defense research. Like we have the premier agency called the DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization. So this conduct research in the defense domain. Similarly, so in both the sides, so they have their own research and development wings in the military section or in the defense ministry or defense department. Where so they conduct this regular research, and the outcome of the research, okay, is disseminated to the other side, so by which, so this the benefit of research so can be utilized by both the sides for their mutual benefit. Okay, if the sides are able to coordinate and they share the ultimate output of the research with each other, then the wider benefit will be coming to both the sides. That's why, so defense research being a prime domain, so both the sides are right now at regular interval conducting this joint research, and they are doing technical cooperation in the defense domain, because technology transfer two things in defense domain. So there are two different options. So one option, one normally followed is, so some country will develop and it will sell the defense product to another country, and the second option is, so this is called the share of the technology. Okay, so where the research or the technology of the research, okay, will be disseminated to one country by the original researcher. That means the original researcher will disseminate the research, okay, but it has conducted to other sites, and that will be beneficial to both the sides. That is the defense technology transfer. Fine. So normally what happened in international situation? So a country always give the defense product to another country and charge something in return of that. But a country like India is right now more focusing on, okay, on technology transfer, because so we have launched our own program called the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and we have launched the Make in India, Stand Up India program, and we are promoting this manufacturing through the Production Link Incentive Scheme (PLI) scheme. So we are right now in a mood to get the technology and produce it in India under the Make in India brand. Okay, so even in the defense domain, we are also emphasizing on the same thing, that any country who is interested to any country who is interested to sell any defense technology or defense requirement to us, okay, should pass on the technology to us. We are not only interested to get the defense product, rather we want the product along with the technology, so we can produce it in India and we will be utilizing it. So
Example, so in case of these AK-203 rifles, we have signed the agreement with Russia. Russia will transfer the technology to us. Okay, so which will definitely facilitate in making India an international manufacturing hub, not only in the common domain but also in the defense domain. Fine, because so the first requirement is India's major defense requirements will be fulfilled from its own products, and second is that so whatever items will be produced by technology transfer, so they will be exported from India. So India can find able to fulfill its own defense requirements, as well as it will be able to disseminate or the sell the technology, the products that were produced in India using foreign technology. These two things are being highlighted. Okay, through this, and government of India is in this way defense scientific and technological cooperation, and this cooperation will further strengthen the relationship and benefit to respective sides mutually. Fine. Then India and Australia are also members of the recently formed Quad. You know, there is a security dialogue called security forum called Quad. QUAD. Okay, who are the members here? Members include Australia, India, Japan, and USA. So this is called so in the Indo-Pacific, and this is also called as the Alliance of Democracy, because all four countries are democratic countries. All have made democracy stronger, step and stable. All countries are imbibed by democratic ideology, and they follow it with true spirit. Okay, and they're able to maintain the democracy in the true sense of the term. Fine. So here that and you know, although this has been created with the intention of checkmating China, it's a known fact that it is created to checkmate the rising hegemony of China. But okay, okay. So, but what happened? So, they cannot justify it that this will be able to openly tell that this is a move to checkmate China. They justify it that this is an alliance of democracy, and this is a group of democratic countries, and the democratic countries have been okay. The democratic countries are right now come together to save the world from the hegemony of some autocratic country or some hegemony country. So who want to justify that yes, we are hegemonic because this is the situation which is favorable to us. But there are others in the international scenario. So what you know is called the balance of power. No. So in international politics, there is a concept called balance of power, which need to be maintained every time. And this balance of power is maintained through alliance and counter alliance. Alliance and counter alliance. Fine. So both have joined the group called Quad, and Quad is a alliance of democratic country in the Indo-Pacific region, and it has been created with a true spirit to checkmate the hegemony of China. Fine. So also comprising the USA, Japan, and India, Australia, to further enhance cooperation and develop partnership across several issues of common concern. So through what they want to take up the issue of common concern and find amicable solution to the issues which are of concern to all the four countries as well as to the global domain. Fine. Then let's discuss about the recent initiatives. What initiatives have been taken in recent past between the two countries. Fine. What are the initiatives taken by both the countries in the recent past? Let's have a look on this. Fine. Let's have a look on the initiatives taken by the countries. So promoting democracy or promoting their security, strategic concern, trade relations, etc. So let check them one by one. What are the steps taken by the countries in this domain? Fine. So the first one, India and Australia have increased interoperability in maritime domain in recent months. Okay, so they have increased the interoperability in the maritime domain. That means in the maritime security, so both have started on becoming closer. Fine, they become closer, and that is what is the present. Fine. So present trend, because this cooperation will definitely enhance or made their relation more stronger. Then comes both sides have signed a joint guidance for Navy to Navy relationship document. This is a very specific one. Fine. So both of them have signed a relationship. Okay. So in that Navy to Navy relationship. Okay. So where this is where the cooperation will be very specific to a particular domain called the Navy of both the countries. Fine. Then comes close cooperation, regional and multilateral fora like the Indian Ocean Naval Symposium, IONS, Western Pacific Naval Symposium, Indian Ocean Rim Association, and ASEAN are some of the highlights of this document. That means in this, so they will be cooperating with Indian Ocean Rim Association, IORA, the country which are in the Indian Ocean Rim. They'll be cooperating at the ASEAN Forum. So although India is not a member of ASEAN, as well as Australia is also not member of ASEAN, but they try to cooperate with the ASEAN group because of its importance. Because okay, ASEAN group is the group which has a big potentiality in the 21st century. Fine, it is called the 21st century, the century of the Asians. Like the 20th century being the century of the Europeans and Americans. Similarly, okay, the Asian century, the 21st century will be the century of the Asian countries. And this Asian group is a very important group in trade, in security and strategic relation. And has India along with Australia. So they are becoming close with this Asian group of the 10 nations because looking at the prospect. Because they have a bright prospect. Okay. That's why so right now they decided okay to launch okay the cooperation among themselves by which this relationship will be further made stronger. Fine. The document is aligned with the 2020 Comprehensive Strategic Vision agreed by Prime Ministers of India and Australia. So the Prime Minister of India and Australia, they have signed a Vision 2020 where in this 2020 period, what will they cooperate and where they coordinate each other and for the joint prosperity are beneficial to both the sides. Fine. So this is the issue where both have signed this document and right now both are trying to align all their policy in conformity with this document. They will be able to achieve the prime targets fixed in the 2020 Comprehensive Strategic Partnership document. Expanding bilateral defense relations, India and Australia signed the Mutual Logistics Support Agreement. So this is similarly we have signed a logistic agreement with USA, Luma. Similarly, India had also signed a mutual logistic support agreement where the logistic uh, in the defense domain, not the warship but the logistics. So they will be cooperating with each other in the naval logistics and defense logistics cooperation. This will strengthen both the sides because This will enhance their level of cooperation to a specific level, and this cooperation will further lead to a strong bonding between the sides. In Australia, has also deployed a liaison officer at the Indian Navy Information Fusion Center for Indian Ocean region as part of the joint maritime efforts. Okay, so Indian Ocean, although not much uh, means importance for Australia in the past, but in the present period, India Indo-Pacific region being given extra focus. So along with the Indian Pacific Ocean, the Indian Ocean is also being put to importance by Australia. So the Australian government has deployed a liaison officer at the Indian Navy Information Fusion Center for Indian Ocean region, and this will definitely further the cooperation and strengthen the relation to the next level. Fine. Then moving forward, India and Australia have also dealt with the disruption of, in the people-to-people contact because of COVID-19. Okay, because so this pandemic, COVID pandemic, that started in 2019, and still the world has not been completely free from it, but it has its massive impact on both the countries at the regional level as well as their bilateral ties. So after the pandemic became the impact of pandemic became slightly reduced through vaccination and other efforts. So both the countries are right now trying to be close with each other and to enhance the people-to-people interaction through trade, through tourism, through education. Because many students went to Australia for education, they went for business, they went to work over there. Fine, and so that is what, and many tourists, Australia having a major tourist attraction, so many Indian tourists visit those places. So these are being affected by the pandemic, and as the pandemic is over right now, so both the sides have decided to further start their bilateral interaction and people-to-people interaction to further expand the scope of tourism, scope of education, scope of commerce between the two sides. And more people to people cooperation will definitely lead to strengthening these areas and diversification of these things to the new heights. The Defense Ministry's flagship engagement activity, Indo-Pacific Endeavour 2022, returns to India this year amid 75th anniversary of Indian independence. And here, both the sides will be active players. Fine. So all these highlighted that. So the bond between India and Australia, okay, the bonding between India and Australia are becoming stronger. Okay, and second thing, the sincere report are being taken by both sides to further strengthen the relation. Right? This is what. Fine. So definitely the Indo-Pacific region will be made more secure through the efforts of India and Australia, plus their allies. Unlike China, which put that the South China Sea is mine territory, India never puts such claim. Only its legitimately allowed territorial water, its exclusive economic zone, are claimed by India. No specific territory, no special hegemony in this Indian Ocean region by India. Similar was the orientation of Australia in its own.
domain. So both the country following democracy and promoting human rights and concern for safety and security will definitely enhance their cooperation to next level and make this region safe and secure. Students, so this has enhanced your idea about the India-Australia cooperation and the related issues. The next topic will cover some other issues of bilateral importance. Thank you for watching.